What is up, guys? In today's video, I'm going to be going over both of the new Overwatch items that were added in Fortnite Act 3 and letting you know if I think they are worth using. As always, if you guys do enjoy this video, find it helpful, informative, or interesting, remember to give it a like, subscribe if you'd like to see more, comment down below what you think of these items, and if you guys would like to use my code in the shop when getting anything, it is EvolveJake, just like my channel name is, and it is underneath the webcam at all times. So the two items we have are obviously going to be the Tracer Pistols and the Mercy Staff. The Tracer Pistols are dual-wield, fully automatic pistols that actually put you in first-person mode. The fire rate on these pistols is quite good, but the damage and range, not so much, and I feel like that's kind of what makes these lacking as a weapon. Typically in Fortnite, I want to just carry two main guns. In evaluating this as just a weapon, I don't like comboing it too much with the pump shotgun or the chaos reloader shotgun, because swapping back and forth several times throughout the course of a fight between first and third person while you're trying to shoot the enemy is quite weird, I think. Also, the range on these being pretty pitiful is really problematic in this season because of how much mobility there is. And this pistol does have mobility, but if somebody's like gloving around with these 7 power gloves and you're trying to like shoot at them with these pistols, you're not really going to be doing much. So looking at these as just a weapon, I don't really care for them too much. But as a mobility item, they're actually incredible. So these pistols allow you to have dashes when you have it equipped. There's a bug where you get infinite dashes and you don't have to have it equipped. But just talking about the regular version of playing the game, you have 3 dashes with these pistols that kind of come back over time. And you execute these dashes like how you would any other form of dash in Fortnite. So it's just your jump button plus the direction you want to be going. You can dash forward, backward, sideways. Works really well. And the recharge time on these is not bad at all. And the speed boost you get from these dashes is really incredible. And if you're doing this just to travel around the map, you can kind of like dash into a bunny hop slide into like another bunny hop slide and kind of like chain that momentum you get. Obviously, when you're dashing around like this, you're going to be immune to fall damage. One of the main kind of problematic things about these dashes, though, is that they don't recharge unless you have the pistols out, which if you're just traveling around the map consistently with it, that's not really going to be a problem. Where that can be a problem, though, is like if you're dashing, traveling around, and then a fight happens, and then you start, using your weapons to fight, and then try to swap back to these, and a dash isn't quite ready to go. Or, you finish a fight, you're looting up, you're healing up, and then maybe you get third-partied without recharging it. Or you just, didn't recharge it from a previous fight. Getting caught off guard with this as one of your main mobility items, and then swapping to it, and then not having the dashes ready to go can be a big problem. So if you are going to be using these as mobility, make sure you try to make a conscious effort to keep them charged up if you're not actively using them. That way they are ready to go. Because as like a, panic, I got caught off guard mobility item, they are very good when you have the dashes ready. But if it's not ready to go, then it's not really going to do anything for you. And then wasting the time to swap to it is going to be, not good either. Another aspect of this is going to be the rewind effect. This kind of sends you back in time, and you activate this by hitting your aim down sight button. And then it will send you backwards. And while doing this, you seem to be immune to damage, at least from my experience. You also get some of your health back, but this is just going to be your green or white health. You don't get shield back. It's just regular health. And then this also reloads the pistol. So if you are going to be using these as an actual weapon, you can kind of dash around, spray, rewind instead of reloading. And then that time you maybe make the fight weird and chaotic for the enemy. And that works out really well. So there's going to be a lot of trick plays you can do with the rewind aspect. I also just think if you're getting really focused in a team game mode and your teammates maybe aren't ready to help you yet, just activating this rewind, that way you're, safe for a period of time, and giving your teammates a little bit more time to react can actually be really helpful. Just as like a panic button, this works really well. And unlike the dashes, this will cool down regardless if you have it out or not. You'll see like a little timer on the weapon, like how you would most like weapon cooldowns. So I think the rewind aspect is good. Like I said, you could do a lot of trick plays with it. You could maybe dash into a bush, and then if it turns out there's people in there, you could rewind away. I had a clip here where I was going to shockwave at an enemy, but they got damage on me. Or, sorry, like they were shockwaving on me, and I tried to shockwave away, and they went to my old spot, and then I just rewound to behind them and got an easy elimination. So whenever people are pushing you, or, you're trying to get away from somebody, you can rewind and like really throw them off. But also there's times where, if you haven't really been going anywhere for a bit of time, like you've been in like a somewhat stagnant location, just rewinding might put you right back in front of the enemy. And so it's something to play around with. But I think in a lot of situations where you're using mobility or being chased, the rewind aspect can be really good. Or like I said, in situations where you're getting hard focused and your teammates maybe aren't ready to help, just being able to buy a little bit of time there with that can be incredibly helpful. So I think the rewind aspect is something that people are going to get better at using as time goes on. The dash is already a really good mobility item. So the way I look at these pistols is I value the mobility aspect much more than the weapon aspect. And I don't mind carrying them instead of like overdrive grenades as a mobility item. And then, like I said, I don't really use the gun unless it's like a very specific situation for it. I'm mostly just using the dashes and I'm using the rewind aspect. And that alone, I think, is viable and kind of justifies its spot. So the dual pistols are good, even if you don't like the weapon. And I said earlier that it's weird going back and forth between third and first person. I think if you're using it for mobility, I don't encounter that as much. The times where that really threw me off is if I'm like pump, swapping to this, and then swapping back to the pump, and you're doing that like constantly throughout the course of the fight, you know? That didn't feel good. But swapping to this for a dash or two, and then swapping back to your weapons to fight feels pretty good, I think. So the Mercy Staff is going to be the other Overwatch item, and this heals 5 health or shield per second. And it can also revive knocked enemies, so you can use this to maybe revive enemies from somewhat of a safe distance. One interesting aspect of this is that it boosts damage and fire rate as well for teammates you're using it on. So your shoot button will be the heal version of it. Your aim down sight button will boost your teammate's damage if you use it on a teammate. And this is pretty underrated. So I don't know the hard stats for this, or maybe if it varies from weapon to weapon, but it seems like the damage gets boosted by about 30% or so. So you can actually view the stats of the weapon change as you're getting affected by this. My Gray Thunderburst went from 24 to 32 damage, which is actually more damage than the gold version has. And the gold version of the Thunderburst went from 30 to 40 damage. My blue Iron Pump shotgun went from 101 to 134 damage, which is actually more than the mythic version of the Iron Pump has. I don't know how this affects the damage cap on the shotguns, but basically what I'm trying to say is that the damage increase is noticeable and sometimes will boost a gray version of the weapon to be more damage than the gold. And then the fire rate increase is a pretty big deal as well. It seemed like the fire rate for my Iron Pump went from 0.8 to 0.92, and the Thunderburst went from 6.75 to 7.76. So about a 15% fire rate increase or so. But again, maybe it varies from weapon to weapon. It's hard to test all these things with every single weapon. What gets really crazy, though, is the effects of the staff increase based on how many people are doing it. So you can be healing multiple people with the staff at once. Or like if everybody on your team healed one person with the staff, that person would get healthy very quick. And then the damage boost is the same way. If everybody was damage boosting the same person, they would get even more of an increase in damage and even more of an increase in fire rate. So I think this is something that can get pretty crazy. Trying to actively use the damage boost in a fight, I think, can be weird. And I don't even know if it's worth it because, like, sure, the added damage is noticeable and it's nice, but 2 people just shooting somebody would probably be even better, you know? So, like, having that person not putting out damage in the fight, I don't know if it's really worth it. I think in situations where it can be really helpful is going to be, like, kind of stalemate-y situation. So, like, if you're behind cover and the enemy team is behind cover and you're just kind of peeking and exchanging shots, having someone damage boost you when you go for like those tags on an enemy, I think could be pretty good. Or maybe in a situation where you're going for opening tags on somebody. I still think I'd rather just multiple people shooting. But the damage on this it's noticeable, and it can definitely be something that, you know, allows you to melt enemies pretty quickly. It's just not the most proactive thing in a fight. I feel like maybe if someone was like really weak and they needed to like get to the side of the fight, instead of putting out damage, they could just try to boost the teammates' damage. But I don't know. I think it's good, but not the most practical. The healing aspect does also stack too, though. So this is where the staff gets really good. So I said it heals 5 health or shield per second, which isn't great as a healing item, but you also heal yourself when healing a teammate. So hypothetically, if you're playing duos and you just got knocked or something and your teammate had to revive you, if you both had the staff, you could heal yourself with your staff and they could heal you with their staff, and then you'd be getting like 2 staff effects at once. And this would obviously get even greater in squads if you had everybody healing. And the same is going to be true of reviving. The reviving goes faster when you have multiple people trying to revive the same person with the staff. But this is also true when you're just reviving people normally. So the healing aspect, I feel like with one staff isn't that great, but when you get more staffs, it definitely is more noticeable. or if you're doing something like using the med mist and the staff at the same time, or the flowberry mist and the staff at the same time, or just any heal with the staff. But just as a regular healing item, I don't really care for it too much. I feel like I have a much lower opinion of it than most people though. It does make your movement somewhat floaty if you have this staff out and then like use a shockwave grenade or something. While you're in the air, you get like a floaty-ish movement. And that could be good for when you're trying to reset fights, because normally if you like shockwave away and try to heal, you start using the kind of animation of your healing item, but you're still traveling really quick, so you might not have the most time in air. But with this, you shockwave, you're gliding in air because you have this item, which allows you more air time, and then also you're healing yourself at the exact same time. And it has about 300 charge, which is more than a Chug Jug has. And like a Chug Jug, you just use what you need. You don't have to use it all at once. It doesn't go away like any of the other healing items. So I think in team game modes, or if you just really like the movement aspect of this stuff, it's a pretty solid healing item. But just on healing speed, especially playing solos, I think I'd rather have something like Pizza. So I think both these items are really good and really viable, especially in team game modes. I feel like the distraction aspect of the pistol becomes better, and definitely the healing aspect of the staff becomes better as well. But that is going to be it for this video. Let me know what you guys think of these items down in the comments below. If you found this to be helpful, informative, or interesting, remember to give it a like, subscribe if you would like to see more, and I will see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching.